This conference will now be recorded.
I got 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe we don't have any amendments, so I just need approval of adoption of the agenda. Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Review the meeting minutes from January 19th.
I'll make the motion to approve the January 19th meeting minutes as written.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Accounts payable, Sarah.
I'll make a note of 78419. That's the workman's comp. For this year or for last year?
That's for this year.
For this year. You gotta pay ahead of time.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh. There's a couple repairs, and then the other big one was the 437, which was the ambulance dues for 46.5. Otherwise, it's some repairs and snow removal and normal. Does anyone have any questions? Now I'll make a motion to approve the accounts payable in the amount of $164,290.34.
Second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Sarah. Public comment portion. Individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 5 minutes. Public comments. I will close public comments and we will jump to new business. 8A 2022 police report. Chief.
So in your packets, you should have a copy of my full report. Typically, I like to just highlight the graphs. They're a little more of a visual. In your packet, you should see a couple of different graphs. One is specific to traffic citations. It's very typical of what we see here every year for traffic offenses. Not really a whole lot to kind of divulge on the difference between this year and last year. Granted, all those numbers, I usually will have a 5-year count of the different types of incidents that we respond to, so you can kind of see the difference of those. But when I go to, let's see, of course,
Can I ask a question just because I don't know on that graph on the third, fourth one down? The DAS, DAR, and DAC, what are those?
those are all driver's license violations, so revoked, suspended,
Okay.
canceled. That's what those are pertaining to. But in our Part A offenses, which is one of these nice color wheels, I did make some notes on those compared to last year. It seems like persons crimes, they're a little harder to control. Those are incidents of assault or sexual assault, things of those nature. We don't see those things. We respond to those things more frequently than we actually, prevent those things. But a lot of property crimes, again, we're seeing a reduction in that. So burglaries down, we've had down 50% compared to last year. Criminal damage to property is down 50% from last year. Frauds, they're kind of pretty much average. A lot of those happen, online or through scams and, through other types of thefts. Our auto thefts down. So that kind of gives you, like our drug narcotic stuff, that looks pretty much similar to last year. And so Part A offenses are offenses that, the more serious type offenses that the federal government records. We have to report these things every year to the state as well as to the federal government. And fortunately, our record management system helps us do that. So we don't actually have to go find all these things. It's all how we validate our stuff. So with that said, B offenses, again, are crimes that we respond to. Some of these things in respect to Part A and Part B, you'll see a lot of the incidents that, like DUI, for instance, that's increased. We see more DUI offenses. We see less of these other property offenses. That shows to me that there's a lot more proactivity. So with us being out and about, being visible, making traffic stops on vehicles and so forth, those are the things, being proactive. We're seeing this type of, those type of numbers for those type of offenses. So we had maybe a little over 300 more calls for service this year than last year. It's ever been so increasing, and that doesn't surprise me. We added another person last year. We added a supervisor. So, more people you have, the more proactive you are, the more activity you have. So it's, again, just showing that we're out and about doing our job and taking pride in what we do. But all in all, I don't see anything really unusual. I don't see a spike in anything. Actually, we see kind of a reduction. A lot of those property crimes are the real kind of headache nuisance crimes that people, are victimized by more frequently than not. And those appear to be down. So.
You think that has to do with doubling up with the sergeant and more patrol?
Yeah, it has a lot to do with being out there, our presence, our response to calls. I'm proud of what we've done so far. I'm proud of our staff, and we've had a good year. We didn't have anyone quit, so we've only added another face, and things are going well. So yeah. Unless you've got any other questions about my report, I'm certainly willing to answer what I can.
Any questions for Chief?
I was just curious who was flashing people, but.
Walren?
Yeah,
What is this?
that would be one of the criminal sexual assault type calls.
Yeah.
And yeah, weird things happen in weird places even.
Thanks, Chief. I know myself, and I'll kind of speak for the rest of the council, but we appreciate the hard work that you guys do as a staff and the Zumbrota Police Department, and keep it up.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, Chief. I'll move on to 8B, council work session. I sat into the city staff meeting, and we just have a lot of things coming up here this coming year with, I'm drawing a brain.
We've got the capital planning, we've got
Capital planning.
Jefferson, we've got
Sidewalks.
personnel policy revisions that we have to do, some things in there that we need to discuss. Oh gosh, what else? I don't remember what else we discussed during our staff meeting. It was a
Well,
lot.
then we
It
got
was a lot of things.
budgeting, so then we can kind of start
Yeah.
getting a jump on that. So we were talking, instead of doing just 2 or 3 a year, let's plan on doing every other month. So my question to you as council is, we want to start in March. Do we want to just pick a day like we do the third Monday of every month? Or do we want to, the month before, okay, what works for everybody? A certain day. We're going to keep it at an hour and a half. We'll have an agenda, what our topics are, and we're done in an hour and a half. If we get sidetracked, we'll bring that up to our next one. And there might be another work session or two that we'll have to do when we get into the heart of budgeting, but I just think if we're more proactive instead of reactive, that we can stay on top of some of the stuff. So looking for input on how you guys want to do. So we'll do, obviously we won't do January, we'll do March, skip April, do June, stuff like that. So I don't know if you guys want to just pick a day if we can put it in our planners, or we talk about it every month before what works.
And maybe if you want an off council week, or if you want to come in twice the same week, that type of thing. Our first one in March, we'll have a Ayers capital planning update at that time.
I mean, do you want to do it on the Monday of no council? So it'd be depending on the week.
Park board
Oh,
is
yeah.
Monday the 6th.
Fire meetings on second and third Mondays.
We had kind of talked Wednesdays because there's not any other meetings. I don't think, is
So
there?
what works for you guys? Do you want to just pick a day, or do we want to talk about it the month before?
Wednesdays.
Like the second Wednesday?
Well,
Second Wednesday?
To be safe, 5:30, 5:45. I'm sorry.
On
I could be
Wednesdays
a
or-
little late. Yeah, any day, because that's when Greg gets home,
Okay,
in case I don't have a babysitter.
okay.
Second Wednesday is kind of, that misses other meetings that we might have here as well.
Should we do 5:30 to 7 then? Since Sarah can't be here? I mean, I'm okay with it being it later. Or we could do it 6 to 7:30. I don't know when you guys eat and stuff. I mean,
5:30 is good with me. I'm down at the shop at that time.
5:30 to 7, and we're doing it, what, the third Wednesday, was it?
Second,
Second Wednesday?
just 5:30 to 7, yeah.
But I won't be able to be the one on March 8th because I'll be in Arizona. But I guess, I mean, we can keep it that way. So second Wednesday, 5:30 to 7, every other month, starting in March.
You could join,
Oh, I guess I could do via
we
Zoom.
could do a Zoom for that or something.
Might have a
for you.
cocktail, but I'll hide it. So we'll plan on doing that 5:30 to 7,
Is that every
Other,
every other
other month? Okay.
so March, May, July.
July.
And then we can move it the month
Yeah.
before too, if it's, hey, something's going on, can we move it to
A different
Tuesday
day, yeah.
or whatever?
So we'll just tentatively plan it on the second Monday or second Wednesday of every other month from 5:30 to 7. Yeah. And then if we need to adjust it because we got a couple of us gone, or, I mean, we know vacations are there. So, I mean, you guys do it if you can't make it. But if we get a couple that can't make it, we can always change it. So,
Yeah, 'cause it would be.
We need a motion on that too.
okay. So March 8th. So we just need a motion to approve that we're going to do every other month, the second Wednesday from 5:30 to 7.
I'll make that motion.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Perfect. Let's run to reports. Brian,
Oh, boy, I knew I forgot to put something together.
you don't have
Together
nothing?
report. No, I'll talk about the sidewalks. We had a sidewalk committee meeting and we are going to be presenting a maintenance plan through a company called Safe Step. Probably at the next meeting or the meeting after that. We got to put the proposed contract together. And we'll give you all the details then, but it'll give us a proactive maintenance plan that we'll try and fund every year, a certain amount, just to start chipping away on sidewalks that don't necessarily need to be replaced, but they might be out of compliance as far as the shifting around of panels that can be ground down and brought back into compliance so we can get 10 years out of it before we got to replace it type thing. So that'll help in many spots around town. There will be areas we still need to replace, and that's budget consideration as well. We can talk about it when we start talking about budgeting, because there's a lot of those. So we should be seeing the bills for the sanitary district. I was hoping to see them by now. But the revisor's office is jam-packed up there. It's a log jam of bills being written. So hopefully we'll get it yet this week, tomorrow, or maybe it's going to be next week. But legislature is busy on some other things anyway before they start talking about those type of things. So Miranda and I attended a MFCOA, Minnesota Finance Clerks Association meeting today, and learned a whole lot about CBD and THC and regulations and the inconsistencies in gummies, as far as things that we need to check to make sure that the gummies are not, over the 5% limit. There's not a lot of regulation out there, so right now they're finding, 10, 15, 20% gummies, sometimes more, which causes a problem because if somebody's thinking they're taking, the 5% one and they're actually taking a 20 or 2 20s, that's going to do far different things to that person than just the lower dose that they think they're taking. So whole lot more to come on that. Of course, the legislature is debating the legalizing pot, I guess is the best word, the layman's term for it, right now. And I've listened to some of the floor or some of the committee hearings on that, and it's interesting, trying to regulate it just like alcohol, but there's no test to, there's no breathalyzer, or it's just a blood test. And then in talking to Justin, if a blood test is ordered and he's got to get a warrant, if someone is impaired at that time, could be an hour and a half before you get the warrant for the blood test. Well, then they're probably not impaired anymore after that. So there's all kinds of things to shake out there, but it appears that it's coming and going to be a reality, that it will be legal here this term, the way it's rolling through the legislature. So anyway, all kinds of more stuff coming on that. Thus, another reason for more discussions with all of you at work sessions, things like that, because, we'll probably be revising the ordinance we just did some, or putting another ordinance in. I don't know. We'll find out as we go. So I think that's it for me for now.
Perfect. Thanks, Brian. Beth, do you have anything you want to report on? Kevin, you want to report on that?
I've got it. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, I sat in at the Road Area Ambulance Committee, and they had their recent inspection done, annual inspection by the EMSRB, and they passed with 100% compliance, which is really, really good. So that was good to see. Beginning ambulance purchase discussion was carried on. They had 2 years from time of order for delivery, but trying to pick out chassis, frames, engine options, very similar, either go identical with what they've got, or considering gas option versus diesel engine. So we're still working that out, but the full board meeting will be Wednesday, and I'm planning to return February 22nd.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, Beth, for joining there. Anything else? Matt? Chief?
Just a couple of things. Lexipol, I started the process of working with our representative on going through our policy. This is where I go through everything because they just give me everything. And it's a lot. There's a lot of stuff there, a lot we don't need. So I got to go through that. I'll be meeting with with our representative on a weekly basis. We'll be going through that policy to the point where I can start checking that they're approved. And once we get so many approved, I can start pushing policy to the officers. Then they go ahead and review those things and acknowledge them, and they become policy at that point, and they'll supersede policy from the past. So that is underway. It's kind of fun in a way because, it's the record management that they're using is phenomenal. So really impressive and very flexible. So.
Did you give us updates on some changes and things like that?
Well, my hope is that we will be able to mirror most of what we have, just with new language. Ultimately, that is just definitely, legally upholdable according to Minnesota state law. That's kind of my hope. And then to basically streamline our current policy. And, all of our older policy really needs to be had to have been gone through. And that's one of the reasons why we went with Flexible, because they're lawyers. This is what they do. They'll make sure that it's all good. And I'm getting access to that. I could give you guys access if you want us to look at it and go through it. That's not a problem. It's real simple for me to give permissions for people to look at it. And, my guess is we'll be putting part of that, we'll be putting a link on our website so that it's available to the public, so they can look at it at their leisure. I'm sure it won't be that fun to read, but it'll be available. Second thing, Motorola WatchGuard, struggling with a few technical things. We're having some speed issues as it basically in the uploads, as we try to upload data back. That's where we're finding problems. And so trying to work with WatchGuard, not as easy as I thought. And so we're hoping that the information that I provided to Marco and Zumbrota Telephone Company, who is currently providing our IP address to, or our IP going back and forth just for the video system. So hopefully they'll be able to work out those issues with streamlining its pathway. And that's the only issue that I'm seeing right now as we go forward. But, down the road, as a whole, I know we've been talking about, city making changes with the entire, going cloud-based for the city. And so hopefully some of these discussions we have will help with that process too when we get there. But other than that, that's all I got.
Let me jump in on the technology thing. I'm in the middle of setting up a meeting. League of Minnesota Cities hired someone, a technology person, for this reason, to help communities who are struggling with technology needs, IT support, things like that. And what he will do is come in and meet with us for a couple hours, walk the building, and help us tailor an RFP along with James. He's our in-house specialist right now. And he'll talk through everything with us, our operations, how we operate, our technology that we have now, what we think we're going to move towards in the future, cloud, all that. And then he won't do IT stuff for us, but he will help us formulate a proper RFP for our needs, because we're not quite sure what we're going to need once we're all cloud-based. With the server now and things like that, it's more complicated than hopefully it will be. But then when we get things like the Motorola WatchGuard deal, and all of a sudden they're talking about pathways for data and slow because of that. And so we need someone that speaks the terminology and can troubleshoot that stuff. James does a great job for us, but some of this stuff even goes beyond James. And so we're working on that technology piece. And that'll start up as soon as I can get a 2-hour meeting set with all of us on staff to go through things with. Christian is the guy's name. So it's coming.
Thanks, Chief. James.
Nothing tonight.
Miranda?
I do have something. So this spring, you'll see some new signage around the bridge. So we have come up with a virtual guest book for people that visit the bridge to sign into. And then, so you have your link to view to sign it and to view it. They're just Google Docs, but we see tons of people, especially in the summer months, spring and summer and fall, coming to the bridge. So we thought, wouldn't it be cool to know where these people are from and why they're here? So wish we would have done it sooner, but so you'll see that now.
Is that live now? Good to go?
It is live, but it's not,
Up, so yeah,
I don't have the QR codes out there yet.
perfect.
We don't get
Thanks,
quite as
Miranda.
many visitors in the winter. We still
Yeah.
do, but
Yeah.
Mostly locals just walking through in the winter.
Nothing tonight.
Big bet. Kurt? I have nothing. Sarah? Bob? Joan? Kevin? Meeting adjourned.
Brian stole my sidewalk thunder.
Who's taking the picture?